And it's just annoying. Like the more people you meet online, the more annoying you feel like online gets. Internet is like one of the most annoying places to be at times. Cause like you'll go into a regular freaking comment section about something that's so simple. Most people in the comment section are like, "Oh man, that's pretty cool. I love that." Holy crap, man. And then you'll see like someone there like with the most aggressive stance possible. Bro, I wasn't asking you to start a fucking fight. I was just asking you a question. Why is it so hard to just have a conversation with someone online? Like, I feel like, and the internet has made me this way. It's made me feel this way, man. It made me feel like it's so hard to make friends online, bro. It's so hard. I used to have a group of friends. Like a hard group. We used to ride and die for each other. But one thing happened. One thing annoyed the shit out of them. And they were like, I have no interest. And I feel like I took the more aggressive stance there, of course. But one thing inconvenienced them. It was a simple inconvenience. And they were like, get this motherfucker out of here, bro. So this isn't a new thing. This has always been a thing. Like, on the internet has always kind of sucked. People let one inconvenience bother them, right? One little inconvenience that something could change. Person can change that part of them. They thought this one person, I've talked about the story before, but like this one thing, and it's that thing stuck with me. That experience sticks with me. It's going to stick with me my entire life, you know, because it proves to me that no matter how long you know someone, there's people plotting behind your back trying to destroy you, bro. Because they didn't confront that to me until a bunch of them were agreed, right? They didn't talk about this in public. They went behind my back and talked about this with themselves. A group of them were like, this person is really annoying. So I'm going to talk to the main dude who runs this server, and I'm going to force them, peer pressure them to kick them out. Do you not see the problem with that? That is indicative of how fandoms are, period, now. If you go into a fandom of something that you really enjoy, you're like, you start questioning everything, right? You're like, did we read the same thing? People don't. That's a fandom thing. That's a friend group thing. This whole leader of the friend group thing is also very annoying. And it's just like, people are just so easy to aggravate. And I know I sound pretty aggravated right now, but that's because, like, I feel like we should just all chill out, you know? And I'm trying to do that myself. I'm just trying to relax, you know? But everything has to be hyperbolized and, like, intense all the time. Like, even, like, something that everyone did in their spare time, alone in the dark. They used to just vibe. Now we call that gooning. They made a term for something that already had a term, by the way. And then now that word is associated with egregious amounts of that thing, right? It's not just gooning isn't just regular those acts, those nighttime acts. That's excessive. Gooning is like excessive. It isn't like you just goon. People, I saw this thing when I was watching this one video. Someone was talking about they gooned for like 12 hours. How? How do y'all have that energy? How do you spend an entire work day of just that? And then maybe they were being facetious, maybe they were joking, but these people really are obsessed with it. That's another thing too. I'm so tired of everything being sexualized. I'll make those jokes all the time. I'm obviously not perfect, but I'm just so sick and tired of everyone being so sexual all the time. Jesus Christ. And it's just like, I play Gooner games, and sometimes I pick characters in those Gooner games because I think they're hot, right? I think they're attractive, but I have a wife, I have a family. Well, I don't have a child, but have a wife. You know, my reality is here. I'm in the reality. I'm not in the artificial, bro. I've never been like that. I just think certain characters are hot, and that's on purpose. That's the point. Right? But they make them that way. You know? It's like why they barely do male units in those games, because the male units are not, they don't sell as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's another thing too. Yeah. I could go on and on about this forever, bro. I'm tired of it. It's so exhausting to be online for more than 5 seconds. It just feels like all those people who were on, and you know, shout out to my normal 4chan people. I didn't go on the website at all. I have never been. Also with Kiwi Farms, I've never been on there either. But it feels like everyone who was on 4chan is now all over the internet. You know? It isn't that people were like like mostly everyone online when I was first getting the internet, they were kind of normal, right? But it feels like everyone is kind of the same as like a basement dwelling 4chan user. You know, everyone's really open about what they talk all the time, and like they're willing to share graphic details of things that don't have to be shared. You know what I mean? And that's a problem. Imo. You know? People are still bashing adult anime fans for liking characters that were their age when they came out. Yeah. See? And don't even get me started, bro, on that whole Endeavor thing. That's when I knew people lost the plot. So, for people, I'm going to spoil My Hero real quick for people that haven't been. People think that, and I'm going to get to what you said in a minute, Tengu, but people think that Endeavor didn't suffer enough at the end of the story. Endeavor didn't suffer enough. He lost 2 of his sons. One of his sons is dead. He was forced to kill him. The other son wants nothing to do with him. That's number 1. Number 2. His body was so burned and ripped apart from the fight, he was forced to not be a hero anymore. And he admits to himself he's in the most depressing place he's ever been. Right? He's in a wheelchair now. He can't even walk anymore. And people are like, oh, I think he should have suffered. I don't think he suffered enough. Y'all, and then you're like, what do y'all want? And they're like, I want him dead. And then people are like, oh man, I really love All For One, but hate Endeavor. Y'all make me sick, bro. Y'all make me sick. Making all these contingencies about how All For One really cared about his brother when he literally like looked at him with disgust, kicked him around and said, oh, you're trying to leave me? I'm just murder you. I'd like to drop kick these fans. I'm not gonna lie. I'd like to drop kick these fans. I'm so tired of people who don't understand anything about the topic they're watching or reading. Like, man, it's so odd to be in a room with people who have watched the same thing. And I always go back on this with Dragon Ball. People don't give a shit about anything new coming out. The thing that always gets me about it, always, bro, literally always, I'll never stop, I'll never not understand this, is people will dog on Toriyama's manga. They'll say, oh, the anime, and this is only Americans, I promise you this is only Americans. They'll say Dragon Ball Z and GT are good. Then when you bring up how the anime is full of filler, and it distracts from the point most of the time. There's long ass arcs full of filler that people enjoy heavily, low-key more than the regular stuff. And then you tell them the manga was better. They're like, the manga is boring. You're watching the manga. You're half of what's going on in Dragon Ball Z is a watch. That's the manga. Without the manga, the anime wouldn't exist. Holy hell, man. That bothers me so much. I will not understand while people watch and read the same things as me. And they're like, oh man, I really love this thing. It's influenced a lot of how I feel about how I write and how I view the world. And then they're like, fuck the creation that this came out from. Y'all are trash. Y'all really bother me, bro. And then when they're talking about Dragon Ball Z Kai, they're like, Dragon Ball Z Kai is bad. Why? It's the same thing. It just cuts out the filler. Y'all really love the driving shit that much? It was that cool, y'all? Come on, bro. What does driving do in Dragon Ball? They can fly. Oh my god. They can fly. No one cares about driving other than the humans. Piccolo and Goku shouldn't be driving. That doesn't make any sense. Conceptually, it's stupid. It was fun. It was a fun episode. Yes. Yeah, you can dick ride all you want, but it's still stupid. Put it in the game, though, it's different. Because you want the game to do stuff like that, because it fleshes out the characters and stuff like that. You get to see how silly they can be in a scenario like that. But in anime where I have to gruel through that, especially week by week, no way am I watching the original Dragon Ball Z. No way, bro. I'm sorry. I can't do it. I can't do it. You're fine to watch it. I'm not hating on the original at all, right? I think Z is also one of the weaker things, but probably that's because people, I have it in my head that people dick ride it so much. I just cannot stand people who act like that. You know, the manga, without the manga, there'd be no anime, and y'all piss me off when you do that shit. You know, Toriyama didn't watch the anime up until he started making the movies. He didn't like it. He didn't like the anime. Right? He thought it was subpar. Like, I remember when he used to say that. He used to come out and be like, yeah, I don't really watch Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. I don't like it. I don't like it. And it's like, yeah, he's made some questionable things. Like, he's made Vegeta and Gohan and said he doesn't like them. He doesn't like writing them. But, like, low-key, they're the best characters in the show. You know? I just don't understand. The people just don't make sense. They just confuse the shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? And I have to sit there and, like, be inundated with this nonsense. Because sometimes even normal, regular people who grew up watching Dragon Ball like me still say these ignorant things. And that's an example of someone who they watch the same things as you, they grow up the same way as you, right? And they don't, for some reason, they don't understand, they really don't understand what they're watching. They don't absorb it the same way you do. You get these narrative things, and like, even when you rewatch it as an adult, you're like, oh man, all these narrative things, all these cool ideas, all these really fascinating, these points about characters. Gohan's entire character in Z is like a masterclass in writing a character who is like a coward, then becomes like literally the savior of the earth, right? Like, and we're watching the same things, and niggas will still be like, Gohan sucks. Piccolo sucks. They only watch for Goku. They only watch for Vegeta. They don't care about any of the extracurricular characters. Oh my god, bro. Y'all are so annoying. And I bet when I get into One Piece more, because me and Gigi are, you know, slowly getting into it and stuff like that. When I get into One Piece more, I'm gonna... These same people who talk about cowards like Krillin, right, and Kid Gohan, and how their cowardice is not a flaw, but an integral version, like a part of their character, right? It needs to be there. for the sake of them learning and growing, right? That is still going to bother me. It bothers me with people who say that Krillin is the lamest character in Dragon Ball. I swear to God, y'all do not watch the same things I do. Saying that Krillin is a bad character is fundamentally misunderstanding how cowards work in narratives. Y'all do not understand it. Y'all don't get it at all. You don't get how Krillin, how integral Krillin is to the plot. How Krillin, despite being a coward, shows up to every fight he's in and puts in work. He didn't want to go to Namek because he felt like he was going to die. But he held it down until Goku, Krillin, and Vegeta and Gohan started showing up. He held it down. He was the one who kept playing with the Dragon Balls, threw them all around. Without Krillin and Bulma and Gohan there, Frieza would have got the Dragon Balls like that. Right? And that's how good cowards are supposed to be written. They show up to battle, and even if they're scared, they still involve themselves in battle. And I love that. I love that. And yeah, Krillin's a human. He doesn't have the instinct that Gohan or Vegeta or Goku do, bro. That's just how that is. Saiyans are hardwired to act a certain way. Literally, the more we learn about Saiyans, the more we realize that they are the way they are because that's part of their biology. It's part of how their brain works. You know? And I'm just using Dragon Ball as a very vague understanding. But you see how people don't understand? Krillin has been there since Dragon Ball. Fundamentally misunderstanding someone who's been written straight up almost into oblivion. Right? They're like, oh, Krillin shouldn't have won that fight against... Krillin shouldn't have been able to battle against Dragon Ball... Blue Goku and Dragon Ball Super. They had a fight, right? They had a really good fight because Krillin was training and he wanted to test himself against Goku because Goku was so much stronger than Krillin at this point. He had levels, bounds, leaps, whatever. He had gone so much higher than him. And he said, Goku, let's fight. Just don't hold back. I want you to fight me. Krillin lost. Obviously. He was... right? He was going to lose that fight. But this is what I mean about Krillin's character. Goku is like this giant who's so far ahead of him. And Krillin's like this. And Krillin still was like, I'm gonna box the strongest person in our universe. Because I want to see how far I've grown. It doesn't matter. I know I'm going to lose. That's the thing that I love about his character. He is realistic. You know? But he still fought someone. And it was touching, too, because they've been friends forever. You know what I'm saying? This is my whole thing. If you want to criticize something, understand the character and the medium that you're criticizing. Because by saying something is mid or bad, it means you don't understand the thing that you're reading. Anime is the most misunderstood genre ever. And I'm not talking about the weird stuff in anime too, because that's weird. Right? There's weird shit in anime. 100%. There's a bunch of weird things that I do not and will never support. Right? But anime is one of those things where if a slightly dark-skinned character with my hair texture, right, who looks like me, speaks like me, and acts like me, they're still like they're not black. They're told by the creator, hey, Luffy is Brazilian. They're like, no, he's not. He's Japanese. Oh my god. Y'all piss me off. Anime fans are so fucking annoying, bro. They're so aggravating. You know? Oh my god. They're frustrating beings. You know, it's like, how is anime so misunderstood? How is anime so misunderstood, bro? We're watching the same things and all people care about is fights. They're watching JJK. They understand that they're like, oh, the power system is the best thing in the world. They're like, oh, the JJK is better than Demon Slayer. Oh, it's better than My Hero. Oh, it's better than Black Clover. Nothing is better than Black Clover right now. I'm going to be real with you. Nothing is better than Black Clover right now. It's the best thing coming out. Other than Ichi the Witch and the one with the dude with the two swords, I think, and or the one sword, and he was like a fish. He has like fish, Kagurabachi, right? Kagurabachi. Yeah, right? And it's just like, I don't understand. Like, and it's so odd. This is crazy to me. Black Clover is old shonen, it's traditional shonen, right? Because they take forever to get to the really good stuff. They let the slow burn happen, right? Inuyasha, for example, Dragon Ball, right? Things just don't happen in those shows. They pop off later. Hunter x Hunter is the same way. Really slow burns with the characters. You know what I mean? And people still say Black Clover's bad. Because their brains are hardwired to just eat all this shonen slop and this isekai slop that gives these characters OP powers from the very beginning. They don't care about nuance. They don't care about progression. They don't care about any of that. Right? I love some slop. I love some slop. Soul Leveling, I love Soul Leveling. I love the slime isekai. You know? But I'll never call it high tier. That's not high tier. It's now, hold on. It's high tier in its fights. Always in its fights. JJK is the same way. But it's not high tier in its story. And it's not like brain level, like high tier level, like brain level, like, you know, cosmic brain level thinking for the plot. It's simple, and that's okay. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with those shows being just regular things, bro. That's it. And if you like high tier level anime, like shit that really gets you thinking, like if you like Attack on Titan but you also like Sword Art Online, right? Those are two totally different spectrums. Attack on Titan is high tier, very high class, adult, very serious anime. Sword Art Online is trash, right? It's garbage. It's garbage. I'm sorry, it's garbage all the way through. It's garbage in season 1. It's really bad in season 2. Season 3 is okay. And then Alicization, anything after that is trash. But you know what it was, though? An innovator. Everyone wants to be Kirito. Every isekai protagonist wants to be Kirito, bro. And it's insane. Right? Sword Art Online did something to the Japanese populace, bro. All those writers just want to be Kirito. They want to be Sword Art Online. Even though like in those circles, Sword Art Online is bad, right? So let me scroll up a little bit. And if it's good filler, it's actually remembered well. Exactly. There's a bunch of Bleach. There's a Bleach filler about the Zanpakuto getting like actual forms and personalities and bodies. People love that arc. I've heard people talk really good things about that arc, right? I've never watched it because I skipped all of it. So I wanted to get to 1,000 Year Blood War as quickly as possible. But people like it. Thanks, GG, for the rant about... I was already doing that. I'm telling you, Gohan is written... I'm telling you. Go back and read or watch Dragon Ball Z. Watch Kai. Because Z is not worth it. In my opinion. Go back and read it and watch how well Gohan is written. Watch how he goes from this boy who has like this coward face to being forced into tons of really uncomfortable situations, but he comes out feeling so good that his transformation to Super Saiyan 2 is peak. It's so well done. Like for writing, it's peak. You know, it's amazing. It's probably one of the best things I've ever gotten the pleasure of being through. I didn't realize how good it was until I was an adult but Gohan is exceptionally well written. Like he almost stands out as something that's sort of like, it's so crazy to feel like Dragon Ball Z has these characters that are like not developed enough or not written well enough or whatever, and then Gohan, it just stands out as like this ray of shining hope, and everything culminates. Everything culminates in the Cell Saga, not the Buu Saga though. He's hoed in the Buu Saga, but if you consider Buu to superhero, that's actually another really good, well-written Gohan arc. It just seems bad because it feels isolated, but if you think about everything he's gone through and the type of person he evolves into, of course he's different, right? Sorry, I know a lot about Dragon Ball. That's only why I'm using him as an example, but you can probably pick any type of character written like Gohan out and explain it to me and break it down to me, and I'll be like, this is a well-written character. Zenitsu does not feel good. He does not feel like, he's annoying. Even though I know he gets a lot of development, but his power, like when it comes to his powers, I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. That's just me. People like Zenitsu, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with Zenitsu, but I think he's the worst depiction of a. He's like the most annoying version of a comedy relief that has bugged me like forever. And I don't think a show like Demon Slayer. This is my thing, because Full Metal kind of gets me with this too. Full Metal is a pretty dramatic, serious show, right? Sometimes it bothers me when those anime moments pop up. Like, Cowboy Bebop doesn't do that. It doesn't do the overinflated heads, right? It doesn't do like the very like the tropey anime stuff. Full Metal does though. But beyond all that, and there's not that much of it, it's still an extremely serious show. That's barely ever not taken seriously, right? There's no filler in it. It's literally a show you could digest and you could, eat up. And it's like, this is cool. If this was anime as supposed to be, I'm fucking with it, But Full Metal gets me with that. And things that are serious, that have those moments, do bother me. As like someone who is an American. Because sometimes I don't really want that. Sometimes and that's part of Ed's character, right? He doesn't like to be called short, the whole milk thing, whatever. It just bugs me. It just bugs me to explain to people sometimes. Because it's hard to watch that stuff for people who, like my mom, who are not anime fans. But they like Full Metal. They like stuff like Cowboy Bebop, right? Cowboy Bebop can be taken seriously. I don't think Attack on Titan does that either, from what I remember. I don't think it does the really tropey anime stuff. But, yeah. I don't think Overlord does that. Overlord is the kind of a... There's Gooner aspects to it, but, like, it's still a good show. Also, yeah, the podcast, that'd be pretty cool. The only time Cowardice is fucking, yeah, Zenitsu. Krillin straight up won the DB universe. Yeah, he got a really great wife. He has a really, he's a cop, unfortunately. But that, when you think about it, that is a good way for him to keep up his training. He has a really cute daughter. He's still best friends with, like, Dende and Gohan. He's still best friends with Goku. He has a great life. I'm not gonna lie. Krillin really won. He didn't think he was going to. Like, he really didn't think he was going to. But, like, especially him in Dragon Ball, you didn't think he was gonna... You didn't think he was gonna act like that at all. Like, him in Dragon Ball and him in Z are, like, two totally... Obviously, he grew up. But, man, he's so different. Like, super, super different. Krillin is just being a normal human being. Oh, yeah, and Shinji. I'm not even gonna get started on that. You guys are lying if you say he wouldn't act like he did. He's human. Goku and Vegeta can do what they do because they're Saiyans and have a bot. Yeah, I did talk about that. I even put some respect on Hercule because he did. Yeah, Hercule's also like a extremely underrated character. Bro really put in work. The Buu arc is phenomenal because of Hercule, right? Really pays off near the end. Shout out to Mr. Satan Hercule. Because he's kind of awesome. I feel like he's a funny enough character where he feels like, and he was the reason that Fat Buu turned into the thing he did. Can you imagine? Fat Boo is an integral part of the show now, bro. Man got a baddie for a wife and a beautiful baby. Yeah, right. That's what I mean. Yeah, Krillin ended up having a really solid life. Krillin's life is what Chi-Chi wanted for Goku. Yeah. Yeah, and he still shows up. Yep. Yep. Exactly. So sorry he doesn't always want to throw himself into danger when he has a wife and a little girl to go back to it. Exactly. Yep. Yep. Krillin has a shonen spirit and Goku has a shonen powers. That's cool. I like that, Tengu. Shonen spirit and shonen powers. That's cool. I like that. The thing is, too, Krillin is never jealous. He's always happy. That's another thing I love about Krillin. He's awesome. Dude is such a good attitude towards Goku. I love it. He seems like such a good, like, well-rounded character. And you only get that because of the struggle he went through. When he died. You remember Krillin was like the first major character to die in Dragon Ball? That was hard. That hit hard, bro. Dude didn't even die in a really comfortable way. He got his neck snapped. Like, woo! Man, that was rough. That was really hard. Because Dragon Ball is silly. Like, much sillier than Z. It has a sillier tone, but that was not a moment that they were willing to play around with. Goku picked him up and his neck, his head just kind of went limp. That's crazy, man! You know? Yeah, Yamcha is the one who lost all semblance of being an actual character, bro. 100%. Yeah, and the jabber thing, obviously. Yeah. Yeah, why people can have... Yeah, that's an annoying conversation. That's such an aggravating... The whole jabber thing is what got me on that, right? I cannot wait for Each of the Witch. Yeah, I gotta dive in. I gotta be on my manga thing again, because I really need to read more. Malik keeps paying for that month to month, and I really don't use it enough. I gotta use that more, but yeah, so that's gonna be cool. Really exemplifying why you gotta discuss media with the real homies and not internet randos. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. There was a thing, like, to finish off the Dragon Ball thing, the reason I know that even intelligent people don't understand something like Dragon Ball is because they'll look at Android 17 and they'll be like, I don't understand why he can keep up with Goku. What did you think infinite energy meant? What did you think infinite energy meant? I don't understand what we misunderstood about that. Infinite energy means that they never get tired and they're always at their peak. Do you think that, like, just because Goku got stronger, that doesn't mean that the androids can keep up? I don't understand. It was so clear. It was so clear. Y'all conceptualize Dragon Ball as a set of powers when it should be these rules that are given to you. These rules that are given to you. The androids are strong. They're powerful. And they should be, even in Super, because they don't need to train. You know what I'm saying? Like, Cell's the only biological one. Or he's the only one that had, like, you know, like, he had actual DNA from other things. But, like, I don't get it. I still don't understand why people think Black Clover is trash. If it's because they think Asa yells too much. I mean, that doesn't even matter. At this point, like, that's not even a criticism. They said, the thing that I remember people saying from Black Clover that they thought was trash is that it took too long for it to get good. That's what people said. That was the criticism that I was constantly hearing that people were saying. They were saying that it was bad because it took too long to get things going. That's why I used Inuyasha as an example. Inuyasha takes forever and a day to get going. It takes forever. It takes about, I would say, 100 episodes to really get into the meat and potatoes of the actual real plot. I don't even think Naraku pops up until, like, I don't even know when. But it's really far in. They're just literally doing nothing at the beginning. But people stuck with that, right? People are just lazy and they can't focus anymore. So if a show is longer than like 50 episodes, they'll be like, it's whatever. And they can't just sit and wait for stuff to happen either. Like, Fire Force is a great example of that. Fire Force has this one character, Tamaki, who's pretty embarrassing for the show, to be honest. But they cannot wait for that thing to just... for something like that to just kind of move on. You know? And just get better. They're like, this is embarrassing. I don't want to sit through this. This is cringe. When it's like everything else other than that character... And I was watching it recently with Gigi. We're up to season 2. That doesn't even pop up that much. Like, it does pop up frequently enough for like stuff for people to be, wow, that kind of sucks. But there are moments that are gems. The story is good in Fire Force. I guess, you know, it's just objectification of like the youngest character. So I get that. If you're not watching it because of that, fine. That's okay. But if you're saying it's cringe, it kind of is. But like, in a way that would deter you from watching the rest of the show, I don't understand that. Just ignore it. Like, there was a dude who on TikTok was like, all these really annoying things about anime, you just gotta ignore it to get through it. And then there was that whole conversation of like, watching things that make you uncomfortable are important because you shouldn't have to sit in a bubble your whole life. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have to like think about like one sort of thing your whole life. You should watch a bunch of things and absorb a bunch of knowledge and conceptualize things that are separate from one another so you can have a more broad opinion of things instead of just being like, I only watch these things because these are the only things that make me feel good, instead of just watching everything. Instead of watching everything and absorbing as much media as you possibly can so you don't walk into a theater and be like, Lex Luthor is bad. I talked about this with my brother, but the whole thing about how people really walked in to see Superman, they said Lex Luthor is bad. The director wrote Lex Luthor, therefore the director is bad. That's not a real take. That's not real. You're not real people. You're not real people at all. You're just saying these things. Or how people say, like, I talked about this too, Michael Jackson was like a mid artist. Alright. That's not even an argument. That's not even a point. That's an opinion that you're trying to make objective. You're putting it in a subjective way, but you're saying it in a way that's like, this is true. You're not saying it like, oh, I'm giving you this opinion and you can eat it up or not eat it up, right? They're saying it in a way that's like, this is how this is. They're telling you this. They're not suggesting you. That's what an opinion is. A suggestion on ultimately, on a conversation. You know? Sometimes it'll convince you, sometimes it'll not. But this person was saying this like this was objective. You know? Music is inherently subjective. There's people who probably don't like Mike. That's cool. That's fine. That's completely fine. He just matters to me way too much as a black person. You know? The things he did for black people in music. He may or may not have been whatever. Music alone, the stuff he did for music, I feel like, no, there's not another Michael Jackson. There's no one like him. You know? But that's all I want to say about that. Because, you know, that's a stupid topic. That's dumb. Oh, it is. It's mostly because they don't like Asa, which is fair, but their criticisms are so wild. Yeah, like, people don't like Black Clover because of Asta, which is fair, because I don't really like My Hero because of Deku, right? But My Hero's different than Black Clover. Black Clover focuses a lot on its side characters. It gives a lot of power to the side characters to let them flesh out, you know? I feel like there's someone in Black Clover, like Yuno, for example. Yuno's pretty cool. Yeah, he wasn't really explored at the beginning, but now he is. Now you have something to latch onto with him. And he's also a great friend to Asa. That's another thing I really like about him. I love me some trash, but it's got to be fun or entertaining trash. Yeah, Konosuba. Konosuba's extremely fun. It's funny. Or Mashal. Mashal's not high tier. Well, it might be. It might be. I'm not that far in, but Mashal is like, Mashal's fun. It's cute. I like it. It doesn't necessarily like push the envelope or anything, but it's fun. I don't really need an anime to do that, to be honest. I don't need it to be high tier. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I definitely want to watch other things than shonen, for sure. I want to watch things that tell a greater story, but they don't have to be perfect. You know? And nothing will. Nothing is ever perfect. That's okay. I watch stuff because I enjoy it. You know, or that I wanna sit through it to the end. My Hero I don't like. I'm fully convinced I just don't like My Hero anymore. But I'm locked in low key. I don't like the anime. I don't like the story. But it's beautiful. You know, the story is tragic in a way. Even though Horikoshi does not know how to write certain things, like race. But you know, I'm pretty over it. But I'm trying to finish it because I want to see, like, if I'm talking about this certain thing, like, I don't really want to be like, oh man, yeah, I stopped at season 5. There's only 6 seasons, dog. You know what I mean? There's only 6 seasons. Like, what do you mean? Just finish it. You know what I'm saying? I kind of want to do that with Demon Slayer because my opinions of Demon Slayer is kind of it's kind of all over the place, but I kind of want to rewatch Demon Slayer. Maybe I'll start from the beginning. Nothing to laugh or enjoy at. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Love Gohan. Shout out to Gigi for being like the #1 Gohan fan ever. That's why she's my wife. I'm going to say this actually. Usopp is basically if you cross Krillin's humanity in a world of monsters with Gohan's early cowardice. He's not just aware of how outmatched he is in every situation he's put in. He's extremely aware of that position. Yep. That's why I talk about new anime fan. This is why I talk about new anime fans. Anime is one of the most planned out, time-taking forms of media, but new things just can't stand that. I'm shocked when I see 10-episode anime. Black Clover does a better job exploring side characters than My Hero Academia. Most of the characters are neglected in favor of the Todoroki, Deku, and Bakugo Club. I still gotta watch Black Clover. It's one of the best kinds of that show. Yeah, Black Clover, if you're gonna watch any new anime that's came out, bro, that's the one I would recommend. You know? That and Daima, actually. Daima was extremely fun. Like, they did something with Tenya and never again. Kirishima had something going, then never again. Ochaku lost the plot, high key, only to come back later. Really love Gohan. Top 3 favorite characters: Vegeta, Piccolo, and then Gohan. And then Piccolo and Gohan having new forms as Peak. Honorable mention is Broly. Oh, peak choices. Just because people hate the new Broly. Hate is a strong word. Hate is a strong. It's a choice, right? It's a choice to hate Broly, but okay. We got an entire movie about him actually trying to flesh him out as a character, right? Where he's still a monster, right? He's still a monster, but he's not like the only thing he's focused on is Goku. It's more about like Saiyan plight. That's the underlying story of Super Broly, is that it's about Saiyan plight and how one person can orchestrate a situation against a race that he still has racism for. You know? Despite him getting along with one of them, he still cannot stand them and will do anything to pit them against one another. He knew he couldn't beat Goku and Vegeta, so he brought Broly there because he was like, oh, Broly can handle them. He's a Saiyan like them, so he must know Super Saiyan. Obviously, Broly evolved a lot during that fight, but it was a story mostly about someone who was still scared of these people that existed and wanted them gone, but realized he wasn't strong enough to get them gone. And so he brought someone there, obviously, to handle business. And the whole plot was like him, obviously trying to get the Dragon Ball so he could grow taller. But you know, it's like I think that's so funny. I think that's so funny, you know? But, anyway, that's my whole rant for today.